So here we are with another nozzle. And just again, I'm just going to give you another example of, how I try to work it out. We ain't worried about none. Again, I'm just working it. You can see I'm working it up and down. Up, really, and it's pulling it down by itself when I release it. Ooh, see, these are dye-based too versus pigment-based versus latex. I mean, every ink that's been running through the machine is going to kind of dictate to how difficult the head is going to be to reclaim. I've had a lot more success with pigment-based ink than I have dye-based ink. It seems like dye-based ink is, I don't want to say like more permanent, but it reminds me a lot more of permanent marker versus pigment-based ink reminds me more of like an airbrush paint. When I get the pigment-based ink to come out, it'll come out in just the shape of the tube, and it'll come out in one long hard piece versus dye-based. I mean, it's in there and it's totally it's in there. So you got a really slower process to get dye-based and pigment-based. But we're seeing something come out here, even if it's just a little bit at a time. Like we got a bigger syringe too, so it might be a lot more than what we really think. The diameter of the needle syringe is bigger. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I'm gonna run through this one again, drawing it back out. I've already done this one here. We're gonna go back in and see if this one's any easier. These were both treated the same. These machines were treated identically. So in retrospect, everything should kind of either work or not together in unison. So we'll figure it out, and then we'll come back and maybe get into flushing it down. And yeah, let me just run through this again. And again, what we got is an equal mixture: caffeine, THC, Windex, 91% alcohol, and denatured over there. And then also for the inquiring minds, that's not latte in my cup. It's actually Goof Off. Don't tell anybody that, but when I let the head do its initial set and I let it sit, I don't know why, and I've never been shown that, but you got to kind of try your own things, especially when it comes to the point where you have a head that it's not going to reclaim it. You're not going to be able to reclaim it. So why wouldn't you want to just throw it through, a little bleach and see what happens or whatever? Why not? The head's already gone. So one of the things that I did, and you can actually see that stuff just kind of just marinating on the top. That's stuff that I got that just came out all on its own accord that I kind of feel I wouldn't have gotten had I just used these three. So when I do my initial soak overnight, that's what I do. I soak it overnight initially before I even start playing with anything. Once I know everything's clogged up, that's what I let it sit in this regardless all night. And this is just Windex, equal parts of this, and then a splash of Goof Off. It's a little bit more caustic, so so then after that, though, after the initial soak, no more Goof Off, and then it's just equal parts this.